Reading instruction can seem very difficult, especially when working with beginning readers. However, once broken down, it is easy to see how balanced literacy happens. There are 5 components that synthesize together to create a foundation for reading instruction. These 5 components, known as the Big Five, connect together to develop our young readers. Each of these components play a major part in developing readers and all connect together to create balanced literacy. The first component is phonological awareness. This is a child's ability to understand spoken language. Students in this stage are able to identify and manipulate sounds in spoken language, but are not able to grasp the concept of print. For example, a child at the preschool I work at knows his name and the sounds that make it up, but he is not able to recognize the spelling. Phonological awareness is an umbrella for a bunch of different skills that scaffold into the other Big Five components. Phonemic awareness is a child's understanding that words are made up of phonemes, which are the simplest form or smallest sound of a word. Once a child has phonological awareness, they are able to work on phonics. However, phonics is also the next component of the Big Five. Phonics is the relationship between written and spoken words. In other words, it is where a child is able to understand that individual phonemes we talked about in phonological awareness are represented by symbols. A child may not know the meaning of the symbols, but they are able to understand that they represent the sounds they are saying. For example, my cousin loves to go to Target, and any time she sees those big red letters, she has to go shopping there. She doesn't know what she is reading, but is able to recognize the symbols. When teaching phonics, the difference between memorization and decoding is very important. It is vital that we teach decoding skills when giving our students explicit phonics instruction instead of simply teaching them to memorize. Word work is a great example of explicit phonics instruction. During this semester, we tested our students using the past and then based our word work off of their results. This is a tool any teacher can use to help base their word work on their students' specific needs. Comprehension is the next Big Five factor. Comprehension consists of reading with complete understanding of the text's meaning, including its main idea and plot. If a student reads without comprehension, they are simply regurgitating words that they have memorized. This is another reason it is important to teach phonics decoding. It teaches students how to analyze and understand the text and its words instead of memorizing it. An important part of comprehension is understanding reading and text factors. Reading factors include background knowledge, vocabulary, fluency, and motivation. These factors are important and are what link students to the text. Text factors include genre, structure, and text features. For example, my CSC this year was very interested in dogs and princesses. Anytime we read a book that involved either of these topics, she read with greater comprehension. This is because she had background knowledge that connected her to the text, as well as many other features. So what makes a good reader? A good reader is a metacognitive reader. This means that they monitor their own reading by thinking about their thinking to analyze the understanding. There are many comprehension strategies to use for students to improve in this factor. These strategies can be seen in the Wheel of Strategic Action. This wheel is made up of 3 types of thinking: about, beyond, and within the text. Each of these comprehension strategies causes students to think critically about the text. However, thinking about and beyond the text requires higher order thinking. Vocabulary is the 4th factor. Without vocabulary, students would not be able to comprehend a text. There are 4 types of vocabulary: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. There are 3 types of words that students learn: function words, content words, and interest words. Function words are the glue of literacy and are hard to define a meaning. Their main function is for structure. Words such as and of are examples of these. Content words are words that need to be taught for meaning. Lastly, interest words are words that are in a child's daily vocabulary that they will recognize immediately. All words fit into the 3 tiers of vocabulary. Tier 1 is full of the easiest words and requires the least instruction. They are based on a child's everyday experiences. Tier 2 words are frequency words that students need to be explicitly taught. They have multiple meanings or may not be used in everyday language. Tier 3 has the hardest words. They are content specific, such as the vocabulary a physics major would need to know. Fluency is the final domain in the Big Five. This is where words are spoken quickly, accurately, expressively, and with comprehension. There are 6 dimensions of fluency: pausing, phrasing, stress, intonation, rate, and integration. Integration is how a student uses all of these dimensions within their reading. There are 3 main factors with fluency: language knowledge, background knowledge, and word identification. Each of these plays an important role. Each factor in the Big Five builds upon each other. For instance, a child cannot understand the relationship of written word to spoken or phonics if they do not understand the individual sounds they hear, or phonological awareness. In addition, students will not be able to read fluently or with comprehension if they do not understand the vocabulary in the text or cannot decode words. Now that we have talked about the big 5 components of balanced literacy, we should talk about how they relate to each other and how we can develop these factors to create a strong reader. Balanced literacy is made up of interactive read-alouds, shared reading, guided reading, and independent reading. Interactive read-alouds teach students how to engage by the teacher modeling specific skills, such as making predictions, asking questions, and vocabulary instruction. Students can practice their phonics skills by taking part in shared reading. Shared reading is an interactive experience where students read along with the teacher. This is a great way to practice fluency because the teacher will be modeling with them. An example of this is when I did a shared reading with my CSC. We read a book with a lot of repetitive patterns in it, and as the book continued, my student became more fluent in her reading expression. Next is guided reading. Guided reading is where a group of students that are on similar levels read quietly while a teacher listens. This is a great way for teachers to test for comprehension because they're able to watch students' decoding skills and thinking process. Lastly, students can read independently. Independent reading is important because students are able to practice all of these skills and read for enjoyment. Each of these factors put together are the basis for practicing balanced literacy because they build upon each other to help students grow in the Big 5, thus creating a strong, balanced reader.